Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Maryland Jockey Club at Laurel Park for a Sunday edition of Today at the Races. I'm Dan Ullman, along with the voice of Maryland Racing, the great Dave Rodman. 9 on today's card, Dave. But before we get to it, some really nice stakes action yesterday. Big performance from the winner of the private terms.
Yeah, I mean, Pay Billy, and I thought the race was a little closer on paper than it actually wound up. Pay Billy really dominated in the private term stakes. Looks like he's a horse of the future, and Michael Gorham says he's getting better. Haven't gotten to the bottom of him yet, which bodes well for his possible next start in the Federico Tessio.
And, of course, the Tessio is a win, and you're in for the Preakness Stakes, and Gorham's in really good position with his 3-year-olds. He's got Pay Billy, and, of course, he has Omaha, who is on the Kentucky Derby contest point leaderboard right now, and is going to run on the Wood Memorial.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, a week or 2 or 3, a month for the Maryland horses to see what they can do, how far they can move forward, who possibly can make the Derby, headed to the Triple Crown, possibly Preakness starter.
Speaking of the Preakness tickets are available right now on Preakness.com. It's Preakness 150. It's the final Preakness at the old Hilltop at Pimlico. Then we'll have a 1-year hiatus where Preakness 151 will be right here at Laurel Park. And then right back to the new Hilltop, 152.
New Hilltop. I like that. That's the first time I've heard. You're going to copyright that. I think you should. Put that in all the press releases. New Hilltop. So, Preakness 150, those tickets are going quickly, especially in the premium areas, the Turfside Terrace, the clubhouse box area, and tickets that people really covet year after year.
And to get some cash for Preakness 150 and play those exciting races, you're going to want to play the Preakness Preview Day Handicapping Challenge at Laurel Park. It's on Saturday, April the 19th. It's a $500 buy-in. $250 goes to a live money bankroll, $250 to the prize pool, cash prizes, Preakness tickets, and berths to the National Handicapping Championship and the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge.
Yeah, it's going to be really nice to see some faces we haven't seen in a while back here at Laurel Park for the Handicapping Challenge. Not the only way you can play, of course, but I know Greg Nepper from Pennsylvania has already got his ticket in.
Hybrid contest. You can play here. You can play online. Learn more at laurelpark.com. We're going to kick things off with race number 1 on a nice competitive Sunday afternoon card. But before we do that, we're going to take a look at our weather conditions. And the track is fast. The weather is nice. 44 degrees. Will warm up even a little bit more. No excuses for a lot of these horses right now. We'll see if a bias develops.
Yeah, yesterday looked like speed early, but I thought the track played fairly honest. Yesterday afternoon, I think the speed situation, the first three races, kind of the product of the way of the races themselves, the way they set up, and maybe some lone leaders out there.
Yeah, a lot of short prices early on, so it's always tough to discern whether there's a bias going on when logical horses are winning. But I agree with you. I think speed might have been slightly good early,
Slightly,
and
yeah.
then it sort of evened out in the afternoon. We're looking for an even track today as we kick off race number 1. We're going 7/8 of a mile. It's a condition claimer, 75 down to 6. Fillies and mares 4 and up, which have not won a race since September the 23rd, or which have never won 4 races. Take out the 1 Catch the Kitten, take out the 7 Gold Time Vixen. It leaves us with a field of 6. It is the first leg of our first of 2 value pick 5s, and it truly is value because it's only a 12% takeout.
Speaking of speed, we had a mare down to the inside now. Catch the Kitten out, going to break closest inside. Livisa. There's been a lot of early speed and going to be perched out there to try to catch. But here's my pick 5 ticket, not using Livisa. I'm using Bad Temper. We'll show you the video in a moment. And Jose Corrales with Hateful. Not quite sure about the 7 furlong distance, but she's a versatile horse. My single in the second race going a mile looks like the LOL, the lone lick of life to me. It's not over yet. So I'm going to use that horse projecting to be on the lead in open lengths today. In the third race, going to spread a bit there. 2, 4, 6, and 9. Bodie's Maker out. There was a key scratch in there, so wasn't quite sure which way to go. Didn't want to narrow it down too much. 4 deep. And then the fourth race, 6 and 7. And then in the final leg, my top pick is going to be the 11, hoping for speed to go all the way, but a little bit unsure. Drawn in a little bit now with some scratches, though. But I think the 3, the 4, and the 12 also have winning chances. So I'm going to use all 4 of those, and that's a reasonable $32 ticket. And hopefully we can get that single speed lone lick home.
50-cent minimum wager for your early value pick 5 with a low 12% takeout. Let's start things off with race number 1. We both agree on the 5 Bad Temper, and primarily because of the trip this horse endured. We have a video spotlight for Bad Temper's most recent start, and things just didn't work out. I understand what Sarah Del Fabro was doing because this horse was hung out wide on the backstretch. She dropped in to save some ground, but here she just has nowhere to go inside and has to alter course too late.
Yeah, both of the horses have finished their 1-2, and they're yumming them up. And, of course, on the outside there, closing Bad Temper were the closing kick of the race. Livisa perched on the lead, but didn't quite get the job done. She's eaten a lot of money lately, so I think those 2 on-rushing closers there were really the primary runners in the race. And I'm going to go with Bad Temper, hoping for a little better trip this afternoon. I think she'll have some speed to run it up front.
And getting out to 7 furlongs is really going to help this horse as well. Tell me a little bit about Hateful, a horse that might be racing herself back into shape. It's her 3rd start of the form cycle for Corrales, who got put up via disqualification with Safe Trust in the Beyond the Wire yesterday. This horse looked pretty good last time out, just taking a logical step up into the 4 life.
Dan, consistent at Laurel, right? 15 starts, 3 wins, 4 seconds. I've always thought of this horse as kind of a one-run sprinter that likes to settle, see some speed, a good speed duel in front, and make 1 run. But you look back in the form, she did wire a field back at Pimlico in May of 2024 in a non-winners of 2, that race that was taken off the turf there. The question to me is 7 furlongs. You know, a horse like this who closes at 6, closes at 5.5, most of the time. Will she get the trip today going 7, offering that same closing kick? I think they're going to try to keep her close today, with bearing in mind that the 1 and the 7 are out. Livisa may be the speed of the fillies and mares in the spot. Keep her close today might be the game.
Livisa's the key to this race because she had to go very fast in the video spotlight race we showed you. That she went an opening quarter in 22 and 51 and just blasted away to an early lead. I don't think she's going to have to work nearly as hard to get to the front here, and she is a proven commodity at 7/8. So she is a very dangerous pace presence, but you did mention she has burned some money. She's 9 to 5 on the morning line. Demand value.
Yeah, burned a lot of money, and not that she was in any kind of duel and hung in there. A lot of times at the 316, she's out there, and you can just tell she's waiting for somebody to come get her. So maybe today, she could hold on, but in a short price, I'm going to try to go against her today using the 5 and the 8 in the first leg of the pick 5.
And Sweet Talia, we both have 4th. She chased Haley B last time out. That horse came back to win. She might be the best closer in this race, but she needs pace help. 5-8-2-3 for Dave, 5-2 2-4-3 for me in the opener on a Sunday afternoon card at Laurel Park. Race number 2 is coming up. We're going a 1-turn mile. We've got some scratches in here and a big one at that. I thought the 5 Tough Luck was going to be real tough in here. The scratch Tough Luck, scratch Probale 10, who you liked a little bit as well. It's a 1-turn mile for 3-year-olds. 12.5 down to 10 is the claiming price. First leg of our first of 3 pick 4s on the afternoon, 50-cent minimum play.
And my single in the pick 5 and top pick here is 3. It's Not Over Yet. Projects to be the lone speed in the race, going that 1-turn mile. Should be able to settle and relax up front for trainer Lisa Reed. Who? A trainer that is 100% in Maryland. 1 for 1 is Lisa Reed. Came back here a few months ago with a horse named 'Cause You're Pretty to hit the winner's circle at a decent price as well. Square price, I think 4 to 1, 7 to 2, somewhere in that range, if I'm not mistaken. Last out of a fast race up at Penn National, the runner-up, Ballad of Warrior, came back to run a 74 buyer figure, improving his number by 27 points from that runner-up finish behind Panagiotis there on March the 6th. So Lone Lick, out of a good race, you see, has opened daylight at Finger Lakes. Can open the daylight here going the 1-turn mile. What happened at the speed of Up in Flames is what I want to know. I mean, this horse used to be pretty quick. Last 2 times with Lasix, had some trouble. Steady start, awkward start. You can see maybe try to stay a little closer to the pace. I think he will with Jamie Rodriguez. He's going to do all he can do to try to hustle up there. But, you know, in the past, I would have projected him in front. But lately, that speed's kind of been on the dull side.
It'll be very interesting to see what tactics Jamie decides to take with Up in Flames, because Up in Flames is stretching out considerably in distance, as you mentioned. Now, that's a little bit of a question mark. The distance for Up in Flames, it's not a question for our top pick, the 3. It's not over yet. But Up in Flames was wired over a speed-favoring track last time out, tried to make a 3-wide move into it and flattened out. I can see this horse improving, but it just seems like the last 2 races have not been very, very sharp. It's not over yet. Speed in a short field is just such a big angle. And you mentioned 'Cause You're Pretty from this barn. That horse was also going allowance to claiming, first-time tag for It's Not Over Yet.
Millibar is the real mystery of the race. Beaten favorite last time out. I mean, when the horse started to drop back around the far turn, I think he was just protected a bit. He's in for the 12.5 today. His work since at Delaware, 5/8, a minute 3, 2/5 of a second. So what kind of Millibar will show up this afternoon is the question for Chuck Lawrence.
Millibar is the only 2-time winner in the field. That does give him an advantage in race number 2. But the speed of the 3, It's Not Over Yet, might take them wire to wire. We're both going 3, 2, and 4 in race number 2. We'll move on now to race number 3. We're going a 1-turn mile. These are some real hard hitters. And I know a horse you liked in here, the 3 Bodie's Maker, is out. It leaves us with a field of 8. And this is a race where I think you can go several different ways, and I think you're supposed to demand value on the tote board. It's a starter optional claimer, 12,005 down to 10, the optional claiming price, 8,000 starter allowance, first leg of the middle, pick 4, and this is a race for me I'd have to spread.
I kind of want, since Bodie's Maker's out, I've always kind of liked Alvey. Right? He's a winner at this track. He won early in his career here at Laurel Park, going the mile, I believe it was. And ever since the claim, he's been very consistent. He's had 3 wins for the new Connections Bush Racing Stable and trainer Tim Kreiser. A good number, 3 back on my figs to get the job done. I know it was a Penn National win, but he's familiar with this track, and he's won at this distance at this track. I think he'll be well placed from the start going this 1-turn mile. 2 El Delari has some early lick. I think of him more as a 2-turn kind of a lick horse. He settled right off the pace going a mile and then opened up and popped away to win by 9. So he's won at this distance, but it was over a muddy track. He won't be far off of either in this race. The real question mark to me, Dan, is number 9, Everett's Song. Put together 3 straight. A 409-day layoff from October 2023 to December 2024 for the Hugh McMahon. Kind of like reconditioned this old class horse. And boy, has he been consistent. Win, win. I think this is a little tougher field today, though.
I think it is a tougher field, and I thought this horse had a very good trip last time out, just sort of settling behind a 3-ply pace duel. He was really urged along on the turn, and then I think he just showed off his class to win at the end. This might be a more difficult situation, breaking from post position 8 in here with the 1 scratch and having to be potentially wide, going around the turn with the looming long stretch of the second wire run of the 1-turn mile. Plus, this horse is going to get bet. Horses in razor-sharp form could easily win this race. I've got him second. I prefer him underneath El Delary, who paired up Beyer Thompson his last 2, and you mentioned is pace adaptable, does not necessarily need the lead to win, can sit off the pace. What about Quinn Cannon? I think this horse is a little bit sneaky, fits at this level very well, and I think is just going to show some speed getting back out to a mile.
The head scratcher to me was Time Form, I think, has this horse on Top by Daylight on their pace figures, which was a head scratcher to me. He's just made some moves like he was going to win and then kind of flattened out a little bit. I think a tricky horse to ride. Is really what my read on him. He's certainly not far out of it in here. I know Everett Sung buried him 2 races back, but again, he showed speed in that race. 24-4, 49-1, nothing to write home about it. A mile and a 16th, and shortening up to the mile today. I don't know how he's going to be on the lead in this spot.
There's a chance though that this pace could get pretty solid, and Master of None benefited from that scenario to win last time out. You've got this horse in the mix, and this horse should be a price.
Well, that was a scare. That's why I put him in the mix, because it is possible he beat Energy Efficient, who was running against him again today, last time out. Very adaptable, very close to the pace. It was a good ride and a grinding victory by apprentice Darwin Rodriguez, back in the saddle again today, and he's come from well out of it too, with a hot pace in front of him as well, going this 1-turn mile. Yeah, right, if the pace does heat up, he's certainly a factor late in the game.
You're going with Alvey, though, who's become a win machine lately. He's taken 5 of his last 8 starts. I'll go with El Delary from maybe just off of the pace, but he'll be there when they turn for home. 4.269 for Dave, 2.985 for me in race number 3. Just a wide open event. We'll move on to race number 4. We're going a mile and a 16th. It's a starter optional claimer for fillies and mares 4-year-olds and up. Started for a claiming price of $12.5 or less in their last 3. Claiming price $20 down to $16. Take out the 5. Destined to Dance. Race number 4 is the first leg of our Chesapeake Pick 6. 20-cent minimum wager. Pick the first place finisher in the final 6 races on the card and cash out.
I think the race kind of goes through number 6. She's a Rolling Stone, who's not my top pick here. You picked her on top, and I could have easily done that. We flipped our picks. I got 7-6. You have 6-7. So I guess we'll look at She's a Rolling Stone. Let's look at some video first here, because I think the race kind of runs through her. Back February 23rd, last start, beaten by a barn mate, entry mate in Divine Grace. Also for the Jamie Ness barn there. And I thought it was a typical She's a Rolling Stone type run, which chased that pace down the backstretch, down inside there, but very willing to close. Wasn't quite good enough, but the pace wasn't that sharp up front for She's a Rolling Stone's kind of late kick that I've seen her have in the past. Going a mile to 16 today, could get over the top, and there you go for trainer Jamie Ness.
Second after layoffs of 2 to 4 months on dirt, 8 for the last 19, a 286 ROI. She's a Rolling Stone, has good tactical speed, likely to get the jump on your top pick in here. Marvelous, a horse that's more of a closer, but what Marvelous has going for her is a good amount of back class and a big drop in class today.
3 to 4 wide bid, 3 back with a nice win and a good number, and then a couple of excuses. They ran her kind of over her head there in the Geisha Stakes. Call another play. right? Winning the Geisha and a surprise, a disappointing effort, coming back to win here as well a few days ago. So I think that race, not bad considering her company there. Then last out, sloppy track, maybe didn't care for the sloppy track, stopped the Caps run well since then. Lovely Charm kind of disappointed me the other day, but I thought if you're a believer that maybe she didn't like that particular kind of slop that day. I know she's won in the wet, so I don't know what to make of that. But that race 3 back was very strong. The 7th place finisher out of there, Ginger Girl, came back to win off the rest back here in early March, getting a narrow decision with a 70 buyer figure, a 70. So let's look at She's a Rolling Stone's last 3 figs, 67, 70, 67 buyers. I think that puts her right there. Maybe I'm hoping for too much to have her to come back to her best race, but she did have excuses. 2 races in a row.
Her race 3 starts back was one of the more visually impressive performances of her career, because she, who is mostly been a one-run closer for most of her career, showed the ability to stay close and comfortable while being close to the pace in that race. She's very, very dangerous with her back class. So we have a stat for the 3 Jess's Gypsy Girl coming in off a win at Penn National. Diane Marisi, second after 2 to 4 month layoffs, recently doing well. 3 for the last 12, a 373 ROI. This horse can be close to the pace along with the number 1 Hot Dance, so I just think it's going to be sent out of there from the rail.
Yeah. In handicapping the race, I tried to project some kind of pace in this race. I wasn't real sure. I think Hot Dance goes to the lead, right?
I agree.
Yeah. And maybe Jess's Gypsy Girl will be close, and they'll go just quick enough maybe for She's a Rolling Stone to make that burst like she did, and hopefully Marvelous as well to come running at them late. The 6 and the 7 to be closing in some order. One of us hopefully will be right.
Same exacta, different order. Dave's going 7-6-4-1. I'm going 6-7-3-4 in the 4th race at Laurel Park on Sunday. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, it'll be time for the late Value Pick 5.
Baltimore! To the city of Baltimore, to all the fans watching around the world, riders up!
They're off in the Preakness.
All eyes of the world will be on Baltimore.
They're head and head. Seabiscuit leads by a length. Seabiscuit is the winner.
And it was a powerhouse race again by the big, strong Secretariat.
Sunday Silence takes the lead at the quarter pole. American Pharaoh, phenomenal in the Preakness.
And the filly did it! Rachel Alexandra! Smarty Jones, he wins the Preakness by a dozen lengths.
She's the Brave, wins the Preakness.
Welcome back to Today at the Races. I'm Dan. He's Dave. 4 down, 5 to go, which means it's time for race number 5. And this is a wide open maiden claiming race. 12-5 down to 10. 3-year-old fillies going 5.5 furlongs. Take out the 5, take out the 8, take out the 10. Please note that the 13, Paps Lil Patriot, the also eligible, is now in the race. Toledo aboard 12-1 on the morning line. This is the first leg of our second Value Pick 5 with the low takeout of 12%, and this one has carryover potential.
Interesting race. I'm kind of glad that we have 3 scratches in here, moving my top pick Sabra song in a little bit, going 5.5 furlongs. And here is Mackenzie Pfeiffer's pick 5, Value Pick 5, late today. And yes, you did put my horse in there, Sabra's song.
But she didn't put my horse in there. I'm
no?
sorry, Matt, in race number 5. She's going 4 deep, though. 3 Miss Serafina, 4 Born Charmer, 7 Lazy Days, and the 11, your top pick, Sabra's Song. She will go deep also in race number 6. 5, that's a really good allowance race for 3-year-olds. The 1 Top Blood, the 3 Just a Fair Shake, the 4 Amy's Music. Then we've got the 8 Change My World, and the 10 The Shipper Super Power. She's going to single in race 7 and race 8. The Speed of Elvis himself in the 7th. The Speed of Rominsky in race number 8, and in race number 9, 3 deep, Shining Spirit, Maddie 10, and the Speedy More. $30 ticket, 12% takeout, late Value Pick 5 with carryover potential, 50-cent minimum wager.
That's what I call a big, bold pick 5. Not 1 single, but 2 singles, right? But I could agree that those could be good singles, and there's some of the other races, including this one, right? We have knowns and we have unknowns in this race, the unknowns being first-time starter. We know that Sabra's Song has early speed. We know that Born Charmer, she's got some early speed, breaking a bit closer to the inside. Where shall we start?
Let's start with Sabra's Song. That's your top pick in here, and this horse has a lot of speed, even with the blinkers off. I think this Salzman-trained runner is going to show speed on the drop, and again, we talk about it all the time. It's a big angle in these lower-level races. When you drop with speed, you have an edge.
Right. Facing better. For that opening quarter, opening 3/8 of a mile, dropping, can get clear maybe. And at this level, some of those fillies just don't have that late kick to come get them. So I'm hoping for hope here that Sabra's Song will show that usual early speed. Note the blinkers come off today, having raced with blinkers last 2 out. You look at the first 2 races, good speed and debut. That race would be good enough to win behind Bougie Bubbles, and then faced Slam Notion. Much tougher filly there in second start. Blinkers went on, higher levels, had some early lick. Now, today, the drop. A little question that maybe Born Charmer is going to try to test her, but they tried to send her last time out, didn't work out.
It didn't work out, but something was just better horses for Sabra Song last time. I just think she's going to show big speed in here and is very dangerous. I'm going with one of our sort of unknowns. And I know that Map to the Moon has already run 5 times, and people are going to say, well, she's a known. I think she's an unknown because she's making her 3-year-old debut. She's getting Lasix for the first time, and I won't be surprised if she's just a completely new horse for Jose Corrales. We haven't seen her since Timonium. I'm not interested in that half-mile bull ring effort because she doesn't seem to have that sort of speed to stay close, and she fell behind early. Her race at Delaware 2 starts back was okay. She broke well, she tracked a big long shot, and she ended up tiring just a bit in the stretch. The winner of that race came back to score with a 53 buyer, has since won twice. I just think this horse is going to fit at this level, and we've got a very promising 10-pound apprentice taking some weight off.
Right, if she does call, it'll be what, first win for
it certainly will, just started.
Right. Jose Corrales gave him a mount, his first mount here.
Ran third
a couple
on
of days
Friday.
ago. Ran quite well. Had, I think, a mount yesterday. But a couple of people who are chart callers there, Bill Browsmill in the press box and Keith Hughes, they were kind of impressed with the way that he saved ground in that debut run here at Laurel Park. You may be onto something there, Dan. It's a layoff, 212 days, apprentice and first-time Lasix. Okay, I think we have a video of Born Charmer, who's probably going to show speed again today, but was hard sent in the last race. Let's watch it from the start there. Born Charmer breaking from post 4. It's a light blue colors. There you go. Hustled out of there in between horses and pops away just a bit. Tried to get away from the other speed, but then was pressed and finished third behind Golden Girl Lena. So I don't know. You're right. Maybe the 11's just that much faster. I'm hoping so from that outside draw.
I expect Perez to be aggressive with Born Charmer again, and maybe
sure.
Born Charmer tries to go out with the 11, but this horse just hasn't shown a ton of stamina in her career. I think she's very well placed in this spot, and she just never got a breather in that last race. It'll be interesting to see if the 11 allows her a breather in here. If there is no breather, you've got the speedy of the 11, but you also have a horse with a closing kick, and that's the 12 got a opportunity.
Yeah, I picked this horse last time out, but was it the muddy track? Maybe I don't know. I'm just looking for that race 3 back, December 21st against Maiden 25. If she can close like she did there behind Can Do, that will do in this spot. Got a opportunity. And she's on that pick 5 ticket as well.
Lazy Days is a first-time starter. That's the number 7 for Tim Keefe and Forest Boyce. Now, Keefe usually likes to give them a race or 2 before they strut their best stuff, but it is interesting. He sent out his last 6 first-time starters. 4 have hit the board, some at decent prices. This horse has a little bit of a pedigree. Out of an unraced 3/4 sister to Dancing House, who I think won the Barbara Fritchie. The dam's also a half to Journeyman, who was a graded stakes winner, to Charming, who was a stakes winner. The second dam, to Charmant, was a multiple grade 1 winner. So there is some pedigree here for Lazy Days. Maybe 5.5, a little bit short, but perhaps one to watch down the road.
They tried to get her out to the gate last year, October the 11th, and something happened. Now a little bit of time away. He's been back in training apparently since January. So consider her a factor in the spot as pedigree alone.
And Miss Serafina is another horse I think that you have to mention because this horse took money for the career debut for Jerry Robb. Second best to a chalk that just ran off the screen.
Yeah, X-Man had a choice of 2, and if you go our laurelpark.com handicapping guide, you'll see that now. It's a new edition. I think a great edition. A couple of players have commented to us. So you can see riders who've had double calls in their actual choice. So laurelpark.com, daily picks, and then download the handicapping guide. All the information, that and more is in there.
Wild first leg of our late value pick 5. 11-12-4-3 for Dave, 9-7-3-4 for me. Let's move on to race number 6, mile and a 16th. This is another really good race. A field of 10 3-year-olds, first level allowance with an optional claiming range from 62.5 down to 50. We're going a mile and a 16th, a field of 10. Victor Carrasco aboard the 8. Change My World. First leg, final 50 cent pick 4, 1 of 3 on the day.
Okay, I guess we'll just get right to the video at Top Blood. And you can take me off camera and put the video on because I had to get some Kleenex out to my crying towel.
you love Top Blood.
You know I love Top Blood. 2 back, 3 back. No good. And then got off Top Blood, and here comes Top Blood at 18-1. Out in the center of the track, just bounding home. Gets post inside today, has won at a mile and a 16th, a dozen lengths in breaking the maiden here at Laurel Park back in December. Maybe a horse that kind of maybe likes to run a little bit to the outside in the clear because he got in trouble race after the maiden score. Lots of trouble in there. So what kind of triple he work out drawing that inside, which is usually a good thing, going a mile and a 16th, but he may be the kind of horse who might want to angle out and get in the clear and stay out of trouble.
I thought this horse got a very good trip in that race. Broke sharp. Arojo did take him to the outside and was tracking the pace battle. And one of the horses that was involved in the pace battle is my top pick in here. That's the 7, Lifting. Lifting put away the pace challenger, but was immediately confronted by Top Blood. But you saw that Lifting, in only the first start against winners, hung in there pretty well. Just missed second by a nose. I think Lifting's going to show speed in here. We have a Stanford trainer, Kieran McGee, second after the claim, 29% recently, $2.12 ROI. Can Lifting get a breather on the lead? I think Lifting can get to the front, but I'm worried that maybe he'll have to actually work hard again.
The true Lifting is somewhere between his first run with a big number on a muddy track and his last number out there on that pace in 46 3/5 of a second. I think that maiden score was enhanced by the fact that there wasn't much speed in there and a muddy track as well. So perhaps the buyer, a bit overblown in that spot for Lifting. But he's a dangerous pace factor if he can get away up front.
Somehow a Christophe Clement train runner was dismissed at 37-1 in New York, and Clement made them pay when Superpower scored a maiden special. First time Lasix, first time blinkers, and only his second lifetime start. He won at the 1-turn mile. This is a rough post going a mile and a 16th.
It is. I mean, he scratched yesterday, right, out of
he did.
The private terms, right? And comes back today. I'll stay post 10 going a mile and a 16th. That's pretty bold, right? He's in the race. Jamie Rodriguez had 2 calls in the race. Again, goes to Superpower over Change My World for Mary Epler. A horse who I think is going to appreciate extra distance today. Wouldn't be surprised to see Change My World settle right off the pace, maybe hopefully save some ground. That was a quick race, won by Faster Gator. Right, and my personal comment on the race was, we'll probably like a little more distance. Gets it today, mile and a 16th.
If the pace is hot, I think our third place picks are really dangerous. Just a Fair Shake and Amy's Music. I want to talk about Just a Fair Shake. I think this is a very promising horse for a very underrated trainer in Daniel McKenzie. A debut winner going a 1-turn mile. This horse ran very well in the Laurel Futurity. I had that track down as a rail bias that day. This horse was taken all the way back after being 5 wide on the backstretch, had to angle widest again in the stretch, and was still charging. First time Lasix, first time blinkers. Maybe the layoff is a big concern going 2 turns, but I'm expecting this horse to run.
He was just ahead behind Studley Do-Right, who did good things after the Laurel Futurity. Blinkers on, Lasix first time. I do remember his first race now visually. I think he's kind of a horse kind of runs with the head down low a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of an
I like
old
that.
Anteater style, I believe, if I'm not mistaken there without going back to look at the video. I know trainer Daniel McKenzie was very, very excited that day and getting this horse to win his debut. It's the kind of horse who just loves to gallop along. That mile helped him in his debut. He's a square 5-1 today. Gets 2 turns. The layoff is the question. He's been working sharp.
Nice super race here for 3-year-old allowance horses. Full field. We might have a stakes horse or 2 coming out of this one. Dave's going 1-7-4-8. I'm going 7-10-3-1. We move on to race number 7. This is a state-sired allowance going 5.5 furlongs for 4-year-olds and up. It's a field of 6. Elvis himself, the number 6, is likely the speed in this race. He showed big speed in his most recent start. And, well, we're going to take a look at that race because Elvis himself and Haley's First Notion come out of a similar race. You see that Elvis himself was able to get to the lead, get to the rail. Haley's First Notion, now consider, Dave, first start off of a long layoff, and when I talked to Gary Kapp, he was a little worried that maybe he didn't have Haley's First Notion completely cranked up for this race. Big, strong four-wide move into the turn, and then just flattens out a little bit. Elvis himself gets tired as well, finishing second to the Brittany Russell train winner.
And Haley's First Notion breaks to the inside today of a speedy Elvis himself. He had a little bit of trouble in that race with a bump at the 8th pole, but prior to that, he didn't show that early speed he did at Laurel and Delaware back last year as a 3-year-old. I think he'll be more cranked up today with a sharp break from the gate, percent up. Maybe he's going to get a little bit of a jump on Elvis himself. And what happens if they get out there together?
If they get out there together, then all of a sudden a horse like Herd on the Street becomes interesting, who may not have had the cleanest trip in the race we saw last time out. He finished 5th that day. You can go back on our YouTube channel and watch that replay, pan and head on. What do you do with a horse like Watch Out World? Maybe Watch Out World on paper is a horse that can show some speed as well.
Yeah, kind of the fly in the ointment there, right? I mean, maybe he'll get up there with Elvis himself. You're right. The pace could get hot and heavy in this race. And that way, I went to the Camulus maybe as a possible closer in here. Run twice at Laurel against Tough Company, Celtic Contender, and Capcom, Doc Linkus, and that sort. Third try at Laurel for Camulus, August the 10th. Threw his head at the start when he ran against Capcom. Then September 21st, second start here at Laurel behind Tough Companies, who we mentioned, Celtic Contender and Doc Linkus. And he looks on paper like kind of a horse who would like to race forward, but judging from his races here at Laurel, he can settle perhaps and maybe try to make a little late burst at them.
Pace is going to make the race in here. Again, same exact, different order. Haley's First Notion, I think, in many ways is the horse to beat. You're going 2, 6, 3, and 1. Elvis himself, I think, is a one-way speed. We'll see how fast he can go and how far he can take that speed. I'll go 6, 2, 4, and 1. Time for the late double. Race number 8 in here. Just another very strong race. We're going 3/4 of a mile. Just a high-level allowance. 7 horses in this race. The 3-2 favorite is Spike Zone. A very short favorite, but when you win 15 of 28 lifetime, you figure you're going to take respect.
He's certainly run fast enough to win this race. Rominski perhaps has run a little bit faster. Pace should be sharp in this spot. We're going to show you Rominski video here. No Easy Days, the runner-up, claimed out of his last start for $55,000 in a new barn today, and also in this race finishing 5th, a horse that one day will wake up again and run his big race was Debit Card. But here is Rominski. It was a comeback race for him after a long layoff since summer of last year for Brittany Russell. I just had to pick him on class alone, on his pure speed and some of his past numbers. I'm a little bit suspect that, horses that just get out there. I know he had post 7 of 7, but he had enough speed to clear, get over to the rail. Never really a challenge, right? Today, maybe Spike Zone will try to soften him up just a little bit in here, and then somebody can come rolling along like number 4, Factor It In. But Rominski in a Brittany Russell stat stands out.
So you don't worry about bouncing with Brittany here.
Right,
Last out winners off 6 months to 1 year layoffs. They still run well. 40%, 208 ROI. Rominski looked good, showed no rust off that long layoff, and is going to show speed in here. We do have a stat for a Mr. Antonelli, just another hard knocker down towards the inside. Diane Marisi, 3rd after layoffs, 2 to 4 months, 26%, 336 ROI. Maybe this one was just a little bit too tough in the General George 2 starts back. I like this horse's tactical ability, and I'll say one thing about Mr. Antonelli. He tries his heart out every single time.
Absolutely. You summed it up perfectly because 2 races back, didn't think he could chase the pace and get it done. He was bet to even money that day, and he did. He chased a hot pace and then wore them down to win going away. Probably no chance he's going to be on the lead today, I would think, right?
I think it's going to be tough.
So, but he may have that same chasing mode as he did back late January on the track rated good when he beat 7s, 11, and Murray.
Now, my top pick in here is the number 7, No Easy Days, who we saw chase Rominski last time out. He was on a hard chase that day. I think breaking from the outside here in a race where Rominski has speed, Mr. Antonelli has some speed, Spike Zone has some speed, No Easy Days can sit just off of the pace and come with a run from stalking range. This is a horse that does have some back ability. Mike Moore has done some really good work sending horses down from his Parks base. I think No Easy Days is going to run well at a decent price.
And Alicia Rua is just about every mount he's had here at Laurel Park has been a sharp, sharp ride. So No Easy Days was getting a bit to Rominski in the video we showed you a few moments ago. He's certainly, I could see him. I don't know why I just kind of ignored him.
Well, Dave's, I'm going to go 7, 1, 3, and 6. And your top pick here is Rominski, the 6, with big early speed, correct?
That's correct.
Correct. I messed everything up again, and I'm throwing everyone in the studio in a tizzy.
No, I saw a 9 up there, right? Oh, that was
That's me. That's me. I don't know. I'm A7, 9. It's been a long week.
You just assume 9 minus 2 is 7. All right.
I just trust me. I just assume, and I should assume nothing.
Right.
Race number 9 at Laurel Park is the finale. 5.5 furlongs, 12.5 down to 10. Non-winners of 3 life. We close things out with a nice field of 8. More is the 9-5 morning line favorite. More is your top selection in this race. More is the horse to catch and beat.
You're going to give me the pick of shame award for this one? What happened last time out, right? Even money. Oh, dropping down. Oh, Dave. Why, come on, pick the drop down horse who has speed. But I think February 21st, this horse is right on the rail, was asked for early speed and gave it as he usually does, got involved in a little bit of a scuffle early on. The majority of the winners February 21st, I'm not saying the rail was dead, but a lot of the winners that day were off the rail, okay? Could have been an honest track, could have been a speed track, but it was off the rail type day. This horse is right on the rail, perhaps, and now they have a little license to drop him in. Or maybe she's nothing, and you don't like her, and I don't blame you.
I'm just going to try to beat him or her at a short price. I won't be surprised if she goes out and maybe just wires this field. But Shining Spirit, a horse we have in the mix, I think is going to be close. We have a trainer stat from Mikey Gorham, who went from the agony of defeat to the thrill of victory in 30 minutes yesterday. 4 for the last 14 with last out winners, 233 ROI. Shining Spirit has a tendency to get a little bit worked up behind the gate, sometimes has to be loaded in without the rider. It didn't bother her last time out. Maybe she puts some heat on the 8, and it's sets things up for the 1, who we both have in the mix, my top pick, Midsummer's Eve. I just think she's rounding into her best form. This is her 3rd start off the layoff. Yes, she was beaten 5 by Shining Spirit last time out. She was 4 wide, 6 path on the backstretch, 5 wide bid on the turn. She ran on to be 2nd. She gets to save a lot more ground under Forrest from the rail.
Yeah, it looks like she is racing herself into shape. More drubbed her in that first race after the layoff. You said beaten by Shining Spirit. To me, Shining Spirit was the lone lick on February the 28th in that race. Midsummer's Eve finishing 2nd, just the things, never really had a lot of early speed. Is that going to happen again today, especially with more, unless she just doesn't show up at all?
Right.
Right.
I think she will show up at least in the early portion of this race more. And I think maybe Midsummer's Eve can work out a pretty good trip. But I know and understand where you're going. Drop down with speed, big angle. More is likely going to try to get to the front. 8-1-2-5 for you, 1-2-5-4 for me in race number 9. Best play time. Dave, where are you heading?
Well, I think kind of gave it away earlier with a single in the pick 5, the early value pick 5. With that's not over yet as a single, but I like Alvy in here as more of the price of the 2 horses. I like both those runners today. Alvy, a winner here at this track, a winner at this distance of the track on the way back, won 3 races for the current connections off the claim, appears sharp. And the numbers right there. I mean, right there with El Delari, your top pick. So if you can get 6-1, 5-6-1, I think a great play today. Alvy in the 3rd.
I had to scramble after the late scratch of my original best play, so my value play is in the finale. Didn't work out well for me at all yesterday's finale. That was a disaster. I'm hoping Midsummer's Eve makes it a little bit better. 8-1 on the morning line, beaten by Shining Spirit last time out, hoping she can turn the tables. 9 on a Sunday card, and of course we have Callie Francois, Mackenzie Pfeiffer, and the great Dave Rodman to take you through the afternoon action. Dave will be back with scratches and changes in just a moment.
Good luck. And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Laurel Park. Track edition is fast. 20 minutes out to post time. Temperature in the mid-40s, sunny skies. Here's a look at your Laurel Park changes for today. First race to kick off the early value, pick 5, 12% takeout. Scratch 1, Catch the Kitten. Scratch 7, Gold Time Vixen. Second race, scratch 1, Probably 10. Scratch 5, Tough Luck. 1 and 5, out of race 2. Third race, scratch 3, Bodie's Maker. 3, Bodie's Maker, out of race 3. Fourth race, start of the Chesapeake, pick 6. Scratch 5, Destined to Dance. Fourth race, scratch 5, Destined to Dance. Fifth race, late value, pick 5, 12% takeout, carryover potential. Scratch 5, She Be Hoppin'. Scratch 8, Marmaris. And scratch the 10, Lee Linda. Note the 13 will run. The 13 will run. 5, 8, and 10 out of race 5. In the 6th race, 8 Change My World. Jockey Victor Carrasco. Victor Carrasco. 8 Change My World. 7th race, no changes. 8th race, no changes. And in the 9th race, no changes. Track fast, 19 minutes to post time. Good luck today at Laurel Park.